what is the best way to promote your super match and everything? And what is going over the line? There's a lot of smack talking, and I'll give you an example. Me and Twiggy go back and forth with it, Twig Arms, Nanya, and all. And some people, kind of get turned off by, saying that we're being very disrespectful. Some people love it. A lot of non-arm wrestlers are hitting me up and they're like, dude, I love it. You're getting me all into watching this arm wrestling. So I kind of wanted to find out from everybody, where is the line, and what do you think is the proper way to promote an arm wrestling match? And let me start off with Clifton first. Clifton, your thoughts?
Well, I've never been the person to talk shit, I guess. This has not been me ever. I try. I tried with Jamie. I've tried with numerous people, and I end up just the whole freaking time. But do I think, I think it's like with any sport, you need to have that in the sport. The shit talking for some people, you need to do it. It's psychological warfare. Sometimes that is what breaks the guy before you even arm wrestle. So to me, I think it's a good thing to have both sides. Is it for me to talk shit? No. Have I been talk shit too? Tons of times. But actions speak louder than words, and I'll show you at the table. That's exactly
Right,
it.
right.
I
Yeah,
can
I think
respect
there's a
that.
need for both. In the sport. I mean, I agree that some. I mean, and I'm kind of like you, Clifton. I'm not going to just sit there and run my mouth. I'll have some fun, and kind of hype things up. But I'm definitely not going to talk shit to somebody in their face like that. That's grown man shit. Like people don't. I'll tell you this. Like, who's synonymous for doing stuff like that? That was in the lightweights back in the day. Jeff Hale.
Jeff Hale.
Jeff Hale would never do that to my face. Do you understand that? So it's like there's this level of respect that I try to command. And I don't want to say command like I need to command respect, but like I exude that so people don't disrespect me like that. Now, do I think that it belongs in the sport as well? Absolutely. If there's two guys that are just that way, do it. As long as it's, you know, under their agreement and it doesn't get too crazy where people start throwing blows. But yeah, I mean, it's entertaining. So I like when people do a little bit of the trash talk. In
Hell
recent
yeah.
years, a lot of that has gone probably a little bit too far for my enjoyment. But teach their own. And if, as long as this person isn't offended, hey, let them do it. They're hyping the sport. It's any exposure is good exposure, right?
To comment on that, also, I think it matters who your opponent is. I think each opponent, you dance different with each kind of guy. It could be a guy, that's very respectful of, like, for instance, if I got a match against Jamie Sheldon, I'm not going in there talking shit and disrespecting him and all. I know, how to play and dance with him. Like me and Nanya, we're both wild guys, man. We run our mouth, and we let people know how we feel and everything. We're both always fighting for the alpha in the room and all. So we also know how to dance with each other, and we also don't take things personal, and we
Right.
just let the gloves go, man. And whatever's said is said. But I
Yeah,
also
it's
want to know,
entertaining.
yeah, hell yeah, man. It's bringing in a lot of views, a lot of eyes, getting people interested. And the thing that I've noticed most is the people that are hitting me up that are non-arm wrestlers. I compete in a lot of tournaments, and I pulled a couple other matches and all, and I didn't get as much. It was more the arm wrestlers following it. This one, I'm getting all these people I haven't talked to in years, guys from the fitness world. They're hitting me up and they're like, yo, bro, this shit is crazy what's going on. I can't believe this dude you're going against. Like, I want to come and watch this shit. And then Nanya actually made a funny statement under. He was like trying to kind of clown me out, and he goes, "Oh, Paul, you and your growing up Gotti style." Well, one of my boys was one of the stars on Growing Up Gotti, seen that and went right under and went right at him. And then goes and messaged me. He's like, "Yo, bro, I want to see you beat this dude, man. Where is it? I think I'm gonna come through." So it's
Mm-hmm.
funny, man. Like, everybody's like talking about it and all. So it definitely is working. It's hyping up the match and all. But I wanted to ask you, Israel, when is it like going over the line? Where is the line drawn? Like, when is it too much?
I think what you were saying is pretty good. I think it just depends on your opponent. You can kind of get a feel for someone after talking to them and getting to know them a little, how far you can push them and, where to go and not to go. I think it's entertaining to, either way. I mean, there's some people who don't do a lot of talking, but they're great at the table. There's some people who do a lot of talking, they're not that good at the table, but the talking carries them. I think family should obviously be left out of it. Anything that is, like from man to man, that you wouldn't want someone offending you with, I think should be left out of the table. But anything else, as long as it's just banter, it's fair game.
Yeah, I
You know, I try
agree
to
with
match
you.
the energy too, like especially on the table. Like if someone's yelling and screaming, if they win, go for it, cool, you know.
Yeah.
Or if they, you know, hit the table, if they lose, you know, whatever. That's just natural reactions, and I'll try to match whatever energy's on the table. Or if there's a little bit of history there, you might see me act a little different. There's been times where I've I don't want to say scared my friends in the room, but they've never seen me that fired up and crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just like when I pulled Austin Wade, I slammed on the table after I pinned him and I yelled, like, get off my. And that was just because there was all this hype. And a lot of it was nerves because, you know, he pulled Bob, he lost to Bob. And then I had to pull Austin, and I wasn't going to lose to Austin because I knew I had to pull Bob later. So I harnessed all that, and I probably acted in ways that I probably shouldn't. And then I started feeding off of it. Then I started messing with Brandon, who was down, you know, down at the end of the table, and talking to Jake Smith and just kind of stoking it up like we're selling the sport. But that's it, you know, there has to be a reason that that's coming out of me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's what I'm talking about. That's the way to do it. You know what I mean? On the table, the emotions are out, so let it out.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
You were kind of getting screamed at right into your face. Like before you even did anything, you were getting screamed at. So on the Austin Wade match. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I was talking to the refs too because you know I was trying to manipulate a little bit too, but you know that's
And there
hey,
was a
that's
lot
what
of
we do.
tension between the two teams before that too. We had, Brandon going at it with Scott Wynn, and there was like a lot of like tension I felt in the room. So
Oh
I
yeah,
think that added to a lot of it also.
yeah. I think you're right, Paul. They started that issue. It wasn't an issue, but they started that negative, but positive in ways tension, and we kind of just fed off of it. So by the time you got to my match, I was just like pacing around like an idiot, you know.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to talk about what do you guys think, man? As far as I asked Jamie and Clifton earlier, as far as hyping up a match and everything, like, what is your guys' idea of hyping up a match? Because some people say, going overboard. I'll give you an example. Me and Nanya, kind of really going at it and throwing blows at each other. And a couple of the older guys hit me up and they were like, yeah, we don't like the whole disrespectful thing. And I was like, yo, it's an opponent. This is how we dance. And I don't treat everybody like that and all. But what's your guys' thoughts on that, man? Let's ask
I,
you, Trey, to start off.
Yeah, so it's actually funny you bring that up because we've gotten a lot of feedback from our first live stream, and it's different strokes for different folks. Everybody has a preference, whatever. I think you got to try and like find that middle ground depending on what you're doing, right? If you're an athlete, if that's your thing, do it. As a production, I think we kind of have to find that middle ground so it doesn't make people upset because some people might not be used to hearing all the swearing, the aggression, the violence, whatever. I don't care. I'm all about it. But I know that other people are gonna watch, so I'm like, okay, let's find that middle ground. I'll leave that and let Marcus go.
Marcus, your
Yeah,
thoughts.
I would say when you give them something to lose, it always makes it interesting, whether it's a bunch of money or a rank, you know. Um, I think something that we've considered is trying to incorporate Aries ratings and rankings into our productions, trying to think of different ways to do that. Um, but like I said, that gives people something to lose, or something to gain. You know, if you're calling out an opponent that's above you, or if, in Robert's case, he beat Michael Thompson, that busted him up into the top 100 right hand pullers in North America, right handed super heavyweights. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so I love when you get people to be natural. You guys were talking about Jamie, for instance. If I was facing Jamie, I I was potentially going to face him, and I told him any shit I talk, all due respect, I'll tell him face to face, and in a DM to him, like anything I talk's just to hype the match. But when you're dancing with Jamie, he's such a good guy. It's like, okay, I can't be ungenuine. But if you have someone that'll dance with you on that same note, I'm the guy that's willing to cut promos in the dark. and make things fucking nasty and get fun with it. A lot like you and Nunya have made. There's limits. I'd say you guys are right at the red line because of how hard you go in. But I dig it. It's really, really fun. WWE is really, really fun. They built a business around it. I don't know how I feel about like the tack match, right? You've got Uncle John pulling who's he pulling in that?
Evan Bourgogne, the beer man.
Yes, yes. So that's a little hardcore Holly extreme. A little jokey maybe to me, but it's cool. Don't get me wrong, and I can see how that would bring eyes and people want to be a part of it, and I think that's cool. So I like Trey was saying, different strokes for different folks, and I think there's no reason we don't tap every vein. But I would prefer to dance with someone that's going to get wild. That shit's fun.
Hell yeah. And I want to shout out Arm Gods. March 23rd is that match that he's talking about with the thumbtack match, and that's between Uncle John and Evan Beerman Bourgogne. Hopefully Evan doesn't get arrested and gets out of Cuba, because I know Evan was on live and he was at the front desk and complaining about how he hasn't had any working shower or anything at this hotel room for the last 4 days. And he looked like he snapped. He looked like he had a few in him, and they were telling him there's nothing he could do, and he's like, well, you better call the cops because I ain't stopping. So I hope Evan gets out of Cuba or whatever, but I'm looking forward to that match. Arm Gods is always pushing the limits, man. We know that they bring the entertainment for real, and always testing new waters. Definitely a fan of this new match. Can't wait. Uncle John might be popping on tonight. I know he's got arm wrestling practice, but he said if he gets done in time, he will definitely pop on. But yeah, shout out to Arm Gods. And I think they also have another big match with Ryan Bowen going against the legend Ron Beth. Wanted to ask you guys thoughts on that one. Clifton, who do you think gets the win that day?
I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this.
Mm.
I honestly think that Bowen's actually gonna pull it out.
Wow.
I'm a huge Ron Bath guy. The guy's crazy. He's a legend. It's just I just watching some of his previous matches, pulls here and there, and how Ryan Bowen pulls. I think that Ryan Bowen's going to get the win. Do I think it's going to be a sweep? No. I think it's going to be a grinder, but I feel like he's going to get the win.
Jamie.
That's going to be interesting given Ryan's trajectory, because we all have or had a trajectory at one point, and Ryan's on his climb, right? Whether he's gaining weight, he's getting these big matches with legends, and he's really solidifying himself in recent years as a very, very good arm wrestler. And I think anybody he pulls now of that caliber is going to be interesting for me to watch now because he's established himself. However, I won't bet against Ron. Ron's a good friend of mine, so I'll always take Ron. But I think Ron's kryptonite is somebody who's very fast. And I don't, in my opinion, and I don't think, at least lately, and I don't think Ryan is fast enough to really get Ron out of position if Ron really wants to use his hand. I know Ron likes to go inside and grind things out, but he has a hand. Like, if you guys remember, this is a long time ago. Maybe you watched a video of it. Ron's in, I think he was in England, and he was about to win his fourth or third world title in one weekend. Oh, earthquake. You feel that up there?
No, wow. I didn't feel it.
What? See, he heard me. But, he was going inside with these guys, and Travis goes, and I think it was Travis, somebody yells at him, Ron, you need to top roll, use that hand. And then as soon as he did that, he was finished beating everybody and got another gold medal at the Worlds. So if Ron's hand is fine, I think he's going to be fine in that match. But Ryan's so sticky nowadays, dude. It's crazy.
He really is, and he likes to grind, man.
Exciting match. Sorry, I didn't mean to, babble on about it, but I got to back Ron. That's my boy.
Jamie, I got to also ask you, what's your thoughts on that whole Uncle John versus Evan Bourgogne tack match?
I came across that. I think it was this morning or something. I just laughed. Like, I'm not surprised,
But are you a fan of those or not really?
Well, what's next? I mean, kickboxer, when you put your hands in the glue and then you have, hey, if that's where it goes and it's entertainment,